Welcome back to a new session of human health and disease. In the previous session, we came across various different types of diseases that will infect the humans, and those different types of diseases is due to negligence of the humans as a result. So, do not neglect anything. So, if we are cautious and aware about all the things that is happening around our surrounding, then definitely we can combat and we can maintain our good health. So that's why we have to maintain our good health, because if we are having good health, so a healthy person is a wealthy person. That will increase the economic prosperity of our country also. Okay, not only of that particular person, but even of the country also. So that's why we have to maintain good health by various aspects that we came across till now. Then in the process of human health and disease, as we have to maintain our good health, as we get various different types of diseases and other sorts of disease apart from this infectious disease that we have studied. We had a list of all the bacterial disease, protozoan disease, viral disease, helminthic disease, fungal disease. With all these, we have different sorts of all these things. Then apart from this, what we have here is we are having other different types of contagious diseases also, okay, including the COVID-19. It is also a contagious infectious disease that is easily spread from one person to another person if we are not taking any precautionary measures. Okay, then even plague is also there, diphtheria is there, leprosy is there, whooping cough is there. So different types of other diseases are also there, okay, that will infect the humans, including SARS, anthrax, okay, tuberculosis. Okay, so all these things. So various different kinds of disease. If you become the pathologist, you will study all the disease. Okay, and the study of the disease, what we say, we call it as pathology. Okay, so the study of the diseases. Now, with respect to this, what we have to do at the end is maintain clean and hygienic practice in your day-to-day life, not only one day or 2 day, in your day-to-day life, so that we can maintain the good health. Then how to maintain good health, we have studied in our previous session also. There, if we are getting any diseases through the bite of the mosquitoes, then avoid stagnation of water, use mosquito nets, use mosquito repellents. Suppose if a pond is there where there is growth of the mosquitoes, then release a gambusia fish that will feed on these mosquitoes. Okay, so all the precautionary measures, good hygienic food, hygienic water, clean water especially. Okay, so do not drink the water wherever it is available. So just look at the thing there, so whether it is a hygiene or unhygienic practice. So that's why better let us maintain our homes clean, let us clean our environment in such a way that so we will be free from the disease and the country will be disease free. Okay, as we have regarding the polio is almost an eradicated age of, it was at the age of eradication and it is almost eradicated from India. Similarly, let us eradicate the present disease. Okay, so that is COVID. Okay, so with this, let's move on to the next middle part of the chapter, which deals with the immunity, human immunity. So what is immunity? Types of immunity. Let's go through the immunity here. Now immunity is nothing but resistance against diseases. Our body will resist the growth of the pathogens in our body. That's why what we say is immunity is nothing but it is a resistance against diseases is said to be immunity. That means we are living in a potential harmful environmental condition where lot of pathogens are there surrounding to us, and these pathogens are entering into our body continuously. Okay, even when the dust will come, whenever you will be moving on the roadsides, whenever you are brooming your houses, dust will be coming. That dust may contain most of the microorganisms that will be inhaled into our respiratory tract, or that may enter through our oral cavity also, through the mouth also, they may enter into our eyes also. That means our body has developed such a system that it counteracts, it fights against these pathogens. Okay, so disease causing agents, we call them as pathogens. So our body, our immune system will act against these. So it will kill, and because of this we have that immune power. And based on that, generally we say he is having a very strong immune system and he is having a very weak immune system. How does, or how can we differentiate a person who is more human, less human? That means if a person is getting diseased oftenly, then what we say, his immune system is weak. Suppose if a person is always healthy, happy, always, almost if you see throughout the year, you will never hear about any sort of disease to that person. That means what we say, he is having a greater immunity, a good immunity. So that's why we have to also maintain this type of immunity. Okay, how the immunity has to be maintained? Now generally we have our immune system that will counteract with the pathogens that invades our body, and ultimately it is going to resist their growth, their development, their further infection, their further damage in our body. This is what is termed as immunity, resistance of the body against the pathogens, against the foreign bodies, against the antigens is said to be what is said to be the immunity. So our body has this type of immunity. Then in this immunity we have different types of immunity. Especially we are dealing with two different types of immunity. One is innate immunity and second one is acquired immunity. So if we look at the types of immunity, the first type we are going to study here only. The first type of immunity is innate immunity. And the second type of immunity we call it as acquired immunity. Now let me tell you the basic difference between these two types of immunity, and later on we will go into the detailed account of the innate immunity first and acquired immunity second. Now as we say immunity, both are immune systems only. What is this immunity? The first term suggests that innate meaning inborn. If the immunity is present in our body right from the time of our birth, such type of immunity is said to be innate immunity. What is acquired immunity? Acquired immunity is such type of immunity after our birth, when we are exposed to the harmful environmental condition. That means when a pathogen enters into our body, then our body will generate an immune response against this pathogen after its entry only. Such type of immunity is said to be acquired immunity. So this is the basic difference between innate as well as acquired immunity. Innate immunity is the immunity that is present in our body right from the time of our birth. Acquired immunity is after our birth, when we come in contact with this disease. Okay, so here what exactly happens? Now in this process, what can we see is, in case of the innate immunity, this type of innate immunity we will be having, almost all the persons will be having right from the time of birth, and hence because of this reason only innate immunity, what do we say, innate immunity is said to be the by birth immunity. Okay, now let's move on to the descriptive part of the innate immunity. Now this innate immunity, it is called as, it is the inborn immunity. The immunity that is present in our body from the time of our birth. Okay, the immunity that is present by birth is said to be innate immunity. So it is an inborn immunity or by birth immunity. I am using multiple terms here. So whichever is feasible for you, you can write that term. So innate immunity is nothing but it is also called as inborn immunity or by birth immunity. Okay. Then here in the innate immunity, we have different types of innate immunity. Then what are the various different types of these innate immunities? The different types of innate immunities are, first one is there are certain barriers. Mainly we are coming across 4 different types of barriers. Okay, that will stop the entry of the pathogens in our body, and that will also help us to maintain our good health. Now the first one is physical barriers. Second one is physiological barriers. Third one is cellular barrier. And fourth one is cytokine barrier. Cytokine barrier. Now let us discuss all these one by one. Now first one is physical barrier. So I am going to take the physical barrier here now. What is physical barrier? Physical barrier is a condition in which our body tries to stop the entry of pathogens physically. That means our body will resist such type of pathogens so that they should not enter into our body. Okay. Hence it is said to be physical barrier. Physically, if the pathogen entry is prevented, such type of immunity is said to be physical barrier. That means it will resist the body so that the pathogen should not enter into it. Now directly we will go to the examples here. So example is skin and second example is mucous membrane. Skin and mucous membrane. Okay, now look at this part. Skin. So we have skin. Skin covers the entire body part. What will happen? Skin, now it will form the physical barrier, because if the dust comes and falls, it will fall on the skin. If any pathogens come, it will come in contact with the skin. That means skin does not allow anything to enter into our body. It does not allow these pathogens to enter into our body, thereby getting resistance. This is physically only. Such type of immunity is said to be what? Innate immunity, and this is present by birth only. We have skin which is by birth immunity only. Okay. Now here it is skin and second one is mucous membrane. What is this mucous membrane? The mucous membranes are present in the lining of, so let me write here, they are present in the lining of respiratory tract, digestive and urinogenital tract. Okay, so tracts are nothing but these are the tubes. Now look at the mucous membrane. Mucous membrane, mucus is nothing but it is the fluid that is secreted from the cells of the body, like that of the respiratory tract. Our respiratory tract is having mucous membrane. Our digestive tract is having mucous membrane because it is lined by goblet cells. Those goblet cells will produce mucus. Urinogenital, urinary tract, it is lined by the mucus. Then what they will do? Suppose if the dust comes, chance of entering the dust into the respiratory tract is most common only. Nowadays we are using a mask, because of that we are not getting any dust allergy. Okay, look at the beneficial part of this also. But continuous using of this mask is also not good for health. Only the thing is, when you go outside or when you enter into the public places, at that time mask is zaruri, compulsory, okay, for you all. So that's why Only if you are in the crowdy place or marketplace or anywhere, if you are supposed to go out, then wear the mask, where it prevents from the dust also, where it avoids certain sorts of allergies also. Okay, then if you are in the home, no need to wear the mask. Okay, understood? So because we require oxygen for our good health also, so that's why breathe properly, right? Now these mucous membranes are present in our respiratory tract, our digestive tract and urinogenital tract. Through these tracts, chances of entering pathogen is high. Through the dust, it will enter into the respiratory tract. Then through the food, it may enter into our digestive tract. And suppose during urination, some of the pathogens, if they are present in the environment, chance of getting infection is also there. Okay, so that's why through these three tracts, the pathogen entry is very high. As a result, this mucus will trap the dust. This mucus will trap the dust. It is just like in the evening session, what we do is to our verandas, we just pour the water. We sprinkle the water. Why? Because the dust should not come up. Similarly, when the pathogens along with the dust enters into our these tracts, the mucous membrane will trap there only, thereby inhibiting the entry of these pathogens in the interior part of the body. Understood? This is how skin and mucous membrane will physically resist the entry of pathogens into our body, and such type of immunity is said to be innate immunity. And a physical barrier, it forms the first line of body defense. I am going to write here. It forms the first line of body defense. Okay, first line preliminary, it will prevent the entry of the pathogens. That's why we say first line of body defense. So this completes the physical barrier. Now let's move on to the physiological barrier. Okay, so let's look at the physiological barrier. So let me take the physiological barrier on this side. So let's take the physiological barrier. Now physiological barriers are nothing but by secretion of certain chemicals our immunity is brought about. Then what are those? These physiological barriers, it includes acid in stomach, then tears in eyes, then saliva in mouth, and one more additional apart from your NCERT, I am writing earwax. Only these three are given. Earwax is an additional. Okay, where I am giving you an example for this. Acid in stomach. As you know, our stomach will produce acid. Which acid? Sulfuric acid, nitric acid, citric acid. Yav acid? Yes, it is HCl, hydrochloric acid. So stomach will secrete HCl. Do you know the pH of HCl? Yes, stomach will secrete hydrochloric acid. This is the acid which is produced in our stomach, and this HCl pH is highly acidic. The pH is around 1.5 to 2. It's a highly acidic, which is going to kill the pathogens. At this high acidic medium, the pathogens cannot survive. Okay, that means if it escapes the mucous membrane, then ultimately the pathogens will be caught in the stomach itself, right, by the action of HCl, hydrochloric acid, and this HCl is going to kill the pathogens and makes humans to get immunity. This is how what happens when a pathogen enters into our body will encounter these organisms. Okay, it is just like a shoot at sight. Okay, if they come across our body. So acid in stomach, HCl prevents and it will kill the pathogens. Most of the bacteria are killed by this only. Then tears in eyes and saliva in mouth, both will secrete chemical, and those chemical is lysozyme. Okay, the chemical is lysozyme. Now what is this? Now tears in eyes. Why do you get tears? ಭಾಳ ಬೇಜಾರಾದಾಗ ನೋವಾದಾಗ ಕಣ್ಣೀರು ಬರ್ತಾವ್ರಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಬೈದರೆ ಕಣ್ಣೀರು ಬರ್ತಾವ್ರಿ. Okay, so that is an emotional tear. But normally whenever you will be moving on the roadsides, suppose through the wind, if any dust particle enters your eyes, then you will get the tears. Usually eyes are one of the most sensitive structure in the human body, where it has to be prevented, protected, and it is having various ways for its protection. So we have eyelids, we have eyelash, we have eyebrows. This is for the eye protection, so that the dust particle should not enter inside the eye. Now what we do, whenever there is a more wind velocity, or if dust particle comes, we close the eyes. And what will happen if the dust enters into the eyes? Then ultimately our body has a mechanism of removing these pathogens. Along with the dust, even pathogens will enter, it will infect the eye, and it leads to redness of the eye. As a result, most of you have came across all these things. Even if an insect enters into the eyes also, almost you will get reddishness. Why it is? Because we get the tears. Those tears contain this lysozyme. That lysozyme is going to kill the pathogen. Okay, even if insect enters, means that insect may have certain pathogens over its body. Those pathogens, those bacteria may enter into our eyes. As a result, our lysozyme will kill these pathogens if it enters. That's why tears, the reason for the tear is to kill the pathogens, to wash the eyes, to clean the eyes, to get rid of the pathogens. Saliva in mouth. Our mouth secretes saliva from the salivary glands. We have 3 pairs of salivary glands, like the submaxillary, sublingual glands, then parotid glands. So 3 pairs of salivary glands are there. They will secrete saliva, and you can see it. Saliva, it is just released below the tongue. Below the tongue, you will find certain minute structures, finger-like structures, through which the saliva is released. This saliva contains lysozyme. Now when we eat the food, then ultimately chance of entering the pathogen through the oral cavity is more only, because always in 24 hours you cannot shut your mouth and sit. At least to drink the water, to have the food, you have to open, even if you won't speak also. Okay, and without speaking, no, it is not at all possible for you. Okay, so you people talk a lot, right? If not with your parents, with the friends, you will talk hours together. That means when you will be talking, you will be roaming somewhere else. When wind blows, then ultimately what? You will be laughing, your mouth will be open, all the dust particle will enter into your mouth. Then what you will do? Okay, then during that time, only the thing is, you can just remove the dust particle from your oral cavity, but how can you remove the pathogens that have entered? That pathogen is killed by our army, which is said to be lysozyme. It kills the pathogens. This is how it protects our body. Look at the body defense mechanisms that we have, right? And as far as the innate immunity is concerned, innate immunity, we call it as non-specific body defense. It forms non-specific body defense. We call it as non-specific body defense because this is not particular to a pathogen. It will stop the entry of all the different types of pathogens, either it is a bacteria, fungi, helminthic worm, protozoan worm, irrespective of the pathogens that those are present in our nature. That's why it is called as a non-specific. It is not particular, it is generalized. It generalized immunity. It stops all the pathogens to enter into our body, okay, so that the further infection should not be caused. Okay, so this is regarding the acid in stomach, tears in eyes, saliva in mouth. They prevent the multiplication and entry of the pathogens in the deep part of our body into the blood, so that we get immunity. Then let me quote one more, earwax. Earwax is nothing but it is the waxy secretion which is secreted from the ceruminous glands in the ear. So, it is secreted from ceruminous glands, where this waxy secretion in the ears, it maintains a little bit of oilish nature in the ear, because our ears will come in direct contact with the environment. Through the dust, pathogens will also enter into the ears. Chance of getting infected to our eardrum is also high. But due to this waxy secretion, earwax, which is secreted from the ceruminous gland, it will trap the dust particle. That will trap the dust particle. Understood? Now, this oily secretion is must and should necessary so that the infection can be stopped. Okay. So, this forms the body defense. And what type of body defense? We are going to write the same statement. It forms, okay, at the last here in this point, write the same thing. It forms the first line of body defense. That means physical barrier and physiological barrier, it forms the first line of body defense. It forms the first line of body defense, while next two will form the second line of body defense. Remember, we'll discuss it now. It forms the second line of body defense. First two will form the first line of body defense, second two will form the second line of body defense, and acquired immunity will form the third and last line of body defense, which is the most strongest force in our body. Okay. So, with the first line of body defense, let's end up the class today, and in the next class, let's go to the second line of our body defense. Look at the defense system which is present in our body. That's why you are not diseased every day, because you have that type of immunity. So, maintain your health, increase your immunity. Okay. Now, presently almost you will be getting eligible for the vaccination also. That vaccination is also for the increasing our immunity, so that we can get rid of various types of diseases. Okay. So, here let's end and we will continue with the second defense mechanism in the new session. Thank you.